Hey, Noclip Crewcast listeners. This is Jesse, and this is episode 259 of the Crewcast. Although this is not a normal episode, everyone has taken a break this week as we're spending time with our friends and family this holiday season, and I hope you are as well. But we didn't want to leave you hanging. I'm sure many of you are making your way home from family gatherings, which were hopefully uneventful and totally not full of political arguments. So to keep you company on the road, we have decided to release an episode of our previously Patron exclusive podcast, the 2016 Warcraft movie review that we recorded and released in September. You get it for free in just a minute here once I get out of the way. But if you've already listened to that podcast because you're already a patron, then head over to patreon.com/noclip for a brand new movie review podcast about 1993's Super Mario Bros. Movie that myself and Jeremy recorded, starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper. The movie, of course, not the podcast. It's just the two of us. If you want to check that out again, patreon.com/noclip, become a supporter and support all the great work we do, and join the Battle Pass holder list if you'd like to, which I'm going to read out now as is tradition here on the show. And that list includes Lil Toast, Corey, Lovepreet, Yut, Tiny Tal, Dwayne the Rock Lobster, Anthony Thomas, Nico Passeteri, It's Me, Ferrario, Senator Armstrong, Redredge, Harry Flanagan, Juice, Arno, Matt Pearson, James Brown, Mark Rojas, Quote, Tucker Morgan, David McGarry, Goddison, Sven Hooster, Pez, John Akers, You Int Nate, Tim Robinson, Forrest Pruitt, Dark Insanities, Jonathan Kremen, Eric Hamilton Schneider, Christoph Fetui, Enox, Grizzly Mug, Cameron Ladd, Zachary Snader, Alex Goucher, George Circotis, Jacob Godserve, Entheogen, James Med, Tohir Tiliev, and Ryson. Thank you to all those lovely people for their support. Everyone who's given us support this year, of course, thank you so much for allowing us to do all the cool stuff that we do, and we look forward to doing more of it with you in 2016, in 2026. We're not going back 10 years. That's when the Warcraft movie came out, which you're about to hear a review for right now.
Hello, patrons, and welcome to your Patron exclusive podcast for September 2025. We've done it, folks. We have dove back into the world of Azeroth. All of us World of Warcraft fans here, we've decided to get back to the game that we love in cinematic form with 2016's Warcraft, directed by Duncan Jones, son of David Bowie, creator of such fantastic movies as Moon. We got a lot of Moon fans in here.
Who doesn't love Moon?
Moon fans, good.
Waves be like?
Waves be like what?
Waves be like big Moon fan? Love Moon? Love
Moon. Source code?
Yeah, thank you for explaining.
That was a good joke.
It's not funny.
Oh yeah, Waves, got it. Source code in 2011. Mute I did not watch. I heard it was not particularly well received. And apparently the animated Rogue Trooper is apparently coming out this year that he's been directing. So look forward to that one. Warcraft came out in 2016. Not necessarily the height of World of Warcraft's popularity. Might have been actually wedged in between sort of the original, 04 to 2012 sort of hotness, and then the anniversary classic WoW versions that came out just after 2016.
So actually, is this, I am coming over here as the true poser of the World of Warcraft lore. I know nothing about this series at all. Is this about Warcraft, or is this about World of Warcraft?
Do we want to get into that now? Do you guys want to?
Okay, we can wait it out. I was just, let
me finish my intro stuff.
Finish your intro, sorry.
There's a bunch of great actors in this as well. A bunch of people who I feel like either blew up after this, or this signaled maybe the end of their blowing up. I couldn't tell which one. Travis Fimmel, who I feel like has been weird looking guy in every sci-fi thing ever since. Raised by Wolves, he's in, of course. He's in the new Dune show as well. I believe he might have been in one of those Viking shows. Paula Patton's in here. Ben Foster, sort of Dominic Cooper from Mamma Mia. Most people remember him from, I suspect. Clancy Brown's in here. You wouldn't know it because he's a big orc. He's not the meanest SOB in Shawshank in this one. Ruth Nega's in this as well. Famous Ethiopian Irish actress. You could hear her accent creeping through a bunch in this one as the Queen, and a bunch of other folks. Although they're mostly the big ones. And yeah, this story takes place in as the sort of orcs invade Azeroth for the first time, which is part of the Warcraft game lore and also the World of Warcraft lore. In some ways, I'm not super in on a lot of the WoW lore stuff, but I sure did recognize that big portal. So first of all, let's go around the wheel on this one. What's everyone's Warcraft sort of exposure? Like, how much do you know about Warcraft games? How much have you played them, and how and what do you know about the world's lore? Jeremy, you go first.
I have played Warcraft. I've played Warcraft 2. I've played Warcraft 3. I've played World of Warcraft, and I have retained approximately zero narrative information from any of them. Just sort of the way that I interact with MMOs and RTSs as two sort of like outliers to my obsession with narrative in most games. I just can't, I don't know. It's not that I like skip the cutscenes or anything, but like, I can't tell you anything about StarCraft either. I know Kerrigan was like a human and then she was a Zerg, but that's like the only thing I remember despite playing the campaign in StarCraft and Brood War 100 times.
That's fair. Frank, what about you?
Yeah, I played like a decade of World of Warcraft. I played a little bit of Warcraft 3, the Frozen, whatever that expansion was. But yeah, I never cared about the story at all. But I know like the races and their home worlds. Like I know the world very well. Do not care about the characters or inhabitants. But I know like the level environments. And I can talk about that as we get into it. But the actual story lore, I don't know anything of.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I already outed myself as the Warcraft not knower. I mean, I didn't. It was the game you played if you had money when you were a kid for me, and we didn't have that. So everything I knew about World of Warcraft started. Well, I knew World of Warcraft, but everything I knew about it started and ended with the episode of South Park where they play World of Warcraft, and I was like, "Oh, that seems fun."
Thrall in that one? I can't remember if they talked about Thrall in that.
The Gold Share Inn is in both this and that episode. So
sure.
You know, it spends some time, although it takes them a while to get
Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That's all I know about World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I'm obviously a big WoW head as well. I played the classic Warcraft games a bit, but not really all that much. Probably the one I played the most was the first ones, Warcraft or Orcs versus Humans, to give it its original title. And I feel like this feels like the sort of what happened in that first Warcraft game when the Orcs and the Humans first met each other, but taking place in the World of Warcraft Azeroth is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this one. Although also, is Kalimdor exist in this? Because like when the king looked up in his room, all he had was the Eastern provinces. And they said that they teleported from another world. So I'm just guessing that they just like teleported from the other island and they don't know they're there.
That was my interpretation, is that Kalimdor was dying, and expressing it as another world was their sort of like medieval interpretation of a continent.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking, there was a couple of bits and bobs here that sort of didn't necessarily line up or make sense. But yeah, I think that's where it is, Jesse. And I think I suspect that this is heavily diverged from the original story. Like I imagine this is them then taking that and running with it in their own direction to a certain extent.
The Warcraft games don't open with a pregnant orc laying in bed. Is that not the opening cutscene for the first game?
Did anyone else feel like in the intro sequence that they were watching a gritty reboot of Shrek? Because when the orcs came on and they were like green people, but they looked like clearly like there was like some of them looked more human than others. They all had like human-ish faces. Like there was clearly performance capture and mocap going on. I could not help but feel I was watching a Shrek reboot.
That's beautiful. Yeah, 4K Shrek. Let's before we get into the plot stuff, let's I guess give our opinions on what we thought of this movie. Who here thinks they enjoyed it the most of the four of us?
I think I did. Oh, really?
Wow, three of us put our hands up.
I actually really liked especially the orc stuff. I thought that was awesome. I wish that was the whole movie. Every time I cut back to the people, I was like, who gives a shit about any of this? Go back to the interesting orcs. I want to see my homie Orgrim and whatever the other one's name was, just hang out for 2 hours. I could do that.
Yeah, I thought this movie was better than I thought this movie was gonna suck so fucking bad because it's got like a 27 on Rotten Tomatoes or something. It's like I like this way more than the Minecraft movie.
I agree with that.
Part of that is just like that movie was made for babies and this movie was made for adults, slightly older babies. No, again, I'm not even like a Warcraft like lore head. Like there were a few like names I recognized and like obviously the places show up and I'm like, oh shit, it's Ironforge. But I wasn't like, oh fuck, it's Ironforge. Like it wasn't like a recognition thing that I was psyched on. I just thought it was like, I thought there was just like some kind of interesting power dynamics playing out in the narrative here. And I think there was some real like porn acting in this. Like I don't think it was like cinema. But like there was some cool like the character dynamics and the way that props to Duncan Jones because this felt like it so easily could have leaned way harder into the like I recognize that thing genre of video game movie, and it does do a little bit of that. At 13 minutes we get a Murloc going the like doing the Murloc. Yeah. So it doesn't shy away from doing that a little bit because like I feel like you got to pay the piper if you make the video game movie. You gotta, Mario's got to say like Yahoo if you're doing the Mario movie. But I feel like he like treated the source material like real, fodder for crafting a narrative about real characters. And it's not like, this isn't going in the Criterion Collection, but I was like compelled by some of the power dynamics playing out.
Yeah, I'm like super relieved to hear you both say that because similarly, I have had this on Blu-ray for like years. Like I have a Blu-ray copy of Warcraft. I think there was a Wario 64 like $5 tweet that went up or something, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that sometime, and it'll cost that much to stream it. So I'll get the physical, keep it physical. I had to watch 5 ads before the movie started, though. That seems like fucking brutal bullshit. And I've had it this long, and I've never watched it because I was scared that I wouldn't like it. I was like scared. Because I similarly heard like people dunking on it and no pun intended, Duncan. And maybe going in with middling expectations helped, but yeah, I thought this was an entertaining movie. I thought like it's a difficult one to pull off. I think it's not Lord of the Rings. I think I think maybe it came out in an era. Obviously, it came out way after Lord of the Rings, but like there was a lot of movies that had these multi-episode franchises like Hunger Games and every sort of sci-fi and fantasy thing seemed to be part of a series. I remember actually talking about this with the recent Dungeons and Dragons movie, which is another movie that was way better than I thought it would be. There's something about fantasy and big stories that is tricky to do. I think maybe Game of Thrones didn't help too, because it's like you're being able to do this fantasy that's a lot more serious and a lot more, character development because you just have the hours, and this movie doesn't have that. And I did think they maybe crammed in a little bit too much plot into this. Like I feel like there was one or two subplots that could easily have not been in this movie and it would have been fine. And we'll get to that. But I was the same way. I thought I was surprised by how good a lot of the performances were. Like Jesse said, the orc stuff was fucking great. Like it was so emotive, and like the CG was terrific, and the performances were fun.
The CG on the orcs was terrific.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting. The CG thing brings up sort of like one of the main, like the core dissonances that I think holds this movie back, and I think it is something that you cannot do anything about because of the source material. Right. I think that the benefit of something like Lord of the Rings and something like Game of Thrones is that they're both very, they're all sort of like broadly related to this phenomenon of like the fantasy genre and fantasy RPGs and fantasy literature and stuff. But I feel like those examples are more sort of grounded, where they can play them as straight sort of medievalist fantasy with when there are supernatural elements or over the top elements, or there's like White Walkers and stuff. It's still treated in a grounded way. Warcraft is, by its very definition, and because it derives from Warhammer, is like it's chunky, it's exaggerated, it's over the top, it's pastiche. It's like you can't get away from that element of it. And so trying to tell a grounded Lord of the Rings style story in a world where people look like little like figurines, it's hard because everyone looks like a cartoon character. So
the fucking pauldrons on these people.
Yeah, and like the helmets, the Stormwind guards and shit, and like, the orcs look like they can barely move because they have like 600 skeletons hanging off of them. It just is like, to its credit, there were moments where all of that sort of faded into the background and I was compelled by the drama unfolding, but I kept just being like, why all of these like people are just running around in very high budget Halloween costumes is how it felt for a lot of it.
They all look like cosplayers.
Yes, yeah, it's like the best of Comic-Con.
The king especially looks like he is acting, or he is dressed up like Carl Urban, who was supposed to play that character. I didn't read the Wikipedia.
Really?
No, I don't know if that was the case.
Did feel that
but
way,
it looks like he was supposed to be Carl Urban, and then they were like, here's the drawing we did of Carl Urban, but we couldn't get him. Can you make yourself look like him as much as humanly possible? You did it.
That's great. Also, everyone's young in this movie, it feels like. Like, there's a lot of like, or like no one's over 40, like except for like mages. Like everyone else is
for
like,
2 seconds.
Everyone, that's true. That's how you can tell they're mages, because they're the only old people. That's great.
Yeah. Frank, what did you make of it?
No, I feel bad because I'm always like trying to be positive. I hate it. It's so fucking great.
Dude, the last 30 minutes is like pretty. I mean, pretty.
It is a
ass.
piece of shit, but it's an interesting piece of shit. But yeah, please speak on that.
No, it was just like watching a PS1 cutscene, but I couldn't skip it to play the fucking game. Like, I was sitting there the whole time, like I wish I was playing World of Warcraft. I wish I was doing any like. I don't know, like yeah, it's why I never bother to watch it. So I don't watch any video game movies unless like. If it was made in the 90s where there was no CG and it was all prosthetics and makeup, I would have loved to have seen that. But like anytime there's a movie, thankfully there were like human actors, but it's mostly CG. My brain just turns off.
Oh, funny!
That's why
really?
I never watch any of the Marvel films. I love Marvel Punisher from the 80s with Dolph Lundgren. That's camp. I love it. This movie wasn't campy enough. It was just like there was nothing for me to latch onto other than, man, I wish I could play World of Warcraft right now. So like, yeah, it just like wasn't for me. And yeah.
So what you're saying is that as a commercial for World of Warcraft, it actually works really well.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, like they used like the sound effects. So what I loved about the film is every time it was like, look, oh my God, they're at Goldshire. There's the Murlocs. We have to go to Red Ridge Mountains. Oh my God, like I recognize every location. And the whole time I was watching this, I was like, oh my God, I remember when I played, like I remember playing in Dead Mines with my friends. Like,
I remember being happy.
Yeah,
that was great.
It was just like, oh man, like I just thought of other things I'd rather see. I would rather see like a small intimate story of a group of like Alliance trying to fight the Defias bandits in Westfall.
Right.
Make that an entire film. Or if this was a mini series and each episode was its own quest in the world of Azeroth. That is so much better than having 100 characters cross-cutting every 2 minutes. And it's like, that's what I did not. I don't know. Like, Orog is over here in Lithal. We have to go here. Use the great scales of Urzara. And it's like, I don't know what the fuck any of this means. I don't care. Like, and so
was that pulled from the movie, or did you make that up? Because I literally can't tell.
No, exactly. That's just what the film sound. And I have subtitles on and stuff too. But it's just like, yeah, it's just not for me. Now, if you're like, again, even in World of Warcraft, I skip all the flavor text. I don't care. I like, great, 10 wolves to kill. Here's the guts. Give me XP. Give me loot. There's like,
here's the guts.
And like, it maybe would have been too insufferable if they went the other way and was campy and they have level up dings. But I would have rather have seen that. I thought that would have been cool. Like,
funny, yeah.
But it was so. For me, World of Warcraft is a goofy game. It is like the art style is so cartoony. All my experiences with it is a hilarious game to play with friends and everything. But maybe the movie was more in line with the RTS games. I didn't play the RTS games, but it was like so serious that was just like, oh man, I just like, I don't know. And I like Game of Thrones stuff I like because it's like it takes its time. Again, as a TV show, the format takes its time.
Exactly, right.
So this, it's so rushed. Like, so you don't even get time to learn about like the bureaucracy of that world or like the culture. It's just moves too fast. Like you guys said earlier, like, oh, if the film was just the orcs, oh, that would have been cool. The graphics were really good. It was like, oh, this. I wish there was a new WoW that looked like this. That would have been awesome. I did think the half orc girl was cool. I did like her.
I couldn't get over her
confusing.
teeth. Her
me too.
Fake. They were so bad.
Oh, her little
They looked-
teepees.
It looked like some Spirit Halloween shit.
Dude,
yeah.
did.
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
They look 3D printed.
Frank is pointing to, again, this core dissonance of the film that it is trying to, because like it is like the lore of Warcraft is serious in its content. It is about like it's about like a Viking like invasion force of these like brutal otherworldly marauders who are like savagely killing people and like rolling through like murdering entire villages of like that's
Sucking their life souls out.
like
You know
doing
what I mean?
fucking necromancy in like a horrifying visceral way that's like draining people of their life before your eyes. It's like it's so heavy, and I think to Frank's credit, the reason that works in a lot of Warcraft is because you'll get a quest where it's like, go see the king, and the king is like, this world is dying, and then right after that you'll go meet like a goblin named like Grimgrom, and he has like a helicopter that's powered by farts or something. Like that is the core like weird pairing of Warcraft that works. Is like the lore is so serious, but the world is so fucking cartoonish.
Yeah, it's like all the like, all the stuff you do in like Duskwood is like super scary stuff. Everyone's so scared, but you're just like, lol, this is like Halloween Town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Jack Skellington hangs out in
It's like a really difficult world to do a movie in. Like I was just like, I was sort of I think at the end of it, I was like, oh, they did a really good job of like trying to pull this one off. And like box office wise, it made like 3 times its money. It made like 450 million globally. Like it was a massive success, but and clearly was setting up a sequel that never happened, right? I don't know if we need to go beat by beat just on the plot stuff because there's so much of it. Yeah. We'll be here all day. But let's talk about some of the plots. Let's try and, if we can, between us, outline all of the plots that exist. We'll go around in a circle, okay? I'll go first, then we'll go Jesse, Jeremy, Frank, okay? And each of us try and think of a plot, a narrative arc that's in this, okay? I'll go for the most obvious one, which is the orcs are invading. They have this bad... What's his name again? The Gul'dan, the necromantic mage orc who is using a green magic called Fel, which needs life to power itself, and comes. It's basically monkey paw magic. It's going to be bad for you. He is sort of stripped their world raw of life by using it, and now they are going to use it to invade the Eastern Kingdoms, or Azeroth, or whatever they call it. And then that's sort of the main arc of the movie. Jesse, what you got?
There's Khadgar, the mage from somewhere in the sky, who comes down because he's trying to investigate part of this, working with the Guardian, who's like I'll save that for somebody else, but a different character. And his whole thing is trying to solve this crisis of the portals between the two worlds that the orcs are using to enter Azeroth. And that's his whole beat for most of the movie, is figuring that out. And then when he finds it out, he joins with the Alliance to do what he does best, which is nothing really.
Jeremy.
We got Garona, who is the hot orc lady with the little teeth. She's one of the only orcs that doesn't look like a weird CGI cartoon. In fact, it feels like she somehow has infiltrated the orcs in green face makeup and hasn't been found out.
She's definitely
yet.
like half human, half orc.
Yeah, they allude to the
She's
fact
cursed, I think, right?
Yeah, she's like, they like killed her mom because she like gave birth to like a normal looking.
Because she had sex with a human.
Like, I don't know. They never say that
That's
outright,
gotta
but
be what it is.
but then they like talk about how like an orc having sex with a human would kill them. But then there's like a guy who's like maybe like flirting with the orc. So I don't know how the whole sexuality thing.
Death by snoo snoo.
I don't want to speculate on the intimacies of orc human sexuality. It's a whole rabbit hole. But Garona is part of the sort of like invading warband of orcs who come through the portal to Azeroth to colonize it, and she gets captured as a prisoner by the Alliance, and then they're like, actually, we're the good guys, and she sort of like slowly comes around to seeing the necessity to help facilitate peace between the Alliance and a sort of separatist group of orcs who realize that Gul'dan, the necromancer, is maybe not the best leader for the orcs.
That's another plot. So there's that plot, the Frost Wolves, who are the other orc alliance that are having a bit of argy-bargy between the orc tribes. Frank, what about you? You look so bored.
Yeah. I do
He
like
wants
that
to be
there's
anywhere else but here right now.
I do like there's Karazhan, which is the flying city.
Right, that's
no,
it.
and it mentions, I don't know, there's fucking baby Thrall they tease for the sequel, which never happens. I don't know, the guy's got the mark on his hand. I don't know.
Baby Thrall's one, like baby at the start, born and then gets put in a Moses basket, like any messianic figure, I guess, and then gets picked up at the end and goes rah at the end of the movie, which is I love that bit. That was great. I love that. How about I'll throw this one in. Lothar, the sort of head champion of the Alliance. Played by Travis Fimmel. Him. For some reason, this is one of the plots they easily could have cut. There's a whole subplot of him and his son.
Yeah.
And his son, like, trying to, impress his dad, and his dad saying to his sister, I believe, is his sister the queen? Is
Like
Ruth Negga his sister?
Like Anduin's sister is the queen, you mean? Like Lothar?
Yeah, Anduin's sister.
I
Maybe?
think so, because at some point the Garona is like, "Oh, is that your mate?" And he says, "It's my sister," right?
Yeah,
is that him? I don't know.
I think he said it earlier too when they were chatting, and he was saying, "You keep putting my son on these missions, and like don't do it." And I think he said it's his sister.
Are you saying it's like a sister, like literally, or is it one of those like that's my cousin sort of situation?
No, I think it was. He said it was
literally
his sister,
a sister.
which also makes it really confusing. Where at the end he is proclaimed kind of the new king or something. I don't know what that was about. And I was like, are you married to your sister now?
The last 25 minutes of that movie might as well not happen, man. That was shit.
They crammed in a lot. Yeah. The running time was coming. There was that whole subplot, which I guess was used as a way for him to be motivated against Medivh, the Guardian. We haven't talked about Medivh, the Guardian, who also, Jesse, you want to take Medivh, the Guardian?
Sure. I actually really liked Medivh for most of the movie. Like, I think he structurally is basically like Jesus for town, but also the Guardian. Like, he protects everyone and has all of the cool superpowers. He could do all the magic without needing to, prep it, or he just knows all of them. He could set stuff on fire. That was really cool. I like that visually. I don't know if that made any much sense, but he lit all the notes on fire in one room. He's introduced as, the protector of Azeroth, and he works with the royalty. But also there's something else going on the side where he's working to stop Khadgar from figuring out what's going on with the portal. And eventually you learn, he's the bad guy, sort of. He was working with the orcs. He's working with Gul'dan to bring them across for some reason. He wanted something. Power?
Yeah, did we ever get... there was never an answer on
right?
why he did it, was there?
I think it was
just
because
the
of the
fel.
fel magic.
It was just because of the fel, right?
Yeah, I think... Yeah, the fel just, I think,
MacGuffined
corrupted
him.
Basically.
He got MacGuffin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He got that.
So there's
That
something
was
with that, and then eventually
Deus Ex
he gets spiky. I thought that was stupid. I had to look up what Medivh looked like. He already had a beard, so they were like, "Oh, he's transforming into Medivh." Now he has a spiky beard.
I just want to put on the record that I got way too high watching this movie, and Medivh was kind of scary looking by the end when he turned into Fel Medivh. That's
a scary looking
kinda freaked me out.
design. They did a good job. And then he gets Charlie Brown footballed by the two heroes of the story. His own golem falls on him, and then that's it, and he's beaten.
Yeah, Chekhov's golem. We forgot about that. That was a whole plot point as well.
No, it's not Chekhov's golem because they set it up and used it later.
That's Chekhov's gun.
That's
is that Chekhov's
If a
gun?
gun
Sorry, I'm thinking of red
appears,
herring.
it has to
My
go
bad.
off by the third
my
act
bad.
or whatever.
If a golem is being made, it has to
Come to
stomp
life.
on someone.
That's
At
the rule.
some stage,
Minecraft movie, this movie.
Sure, we have a lot of
the
Gollum
Dungeons
movies.
and Dragons one, I think, had a some golems
Damn.
in it.
Probably.
Yeah, the D&D movie is a good sort of like
Let's just talk about that instead.
I've never seen it.
alternative. Yeah, because it's very
so much
campy,
better.
and it's
Yeah.
very funny, and it's very like playing with the mechanics of the story, and it's just different. Like this is clearly like trying to set up the remit of this. I don't think you can do a Warcraft movie and not piss off all the fans without touching some of this lore stuff. Because, yeah, like I think all four of us here don't really care about Warcraft lore and have played many of us have played loads of hours of World of Warcraft. But unfortunately, there are 5 to 10% of Warcraft players who really care about the story of these games. You're kind of stuck. Like D&D is so broad that you can kind of like tell your own story within the universe, but with Warcraft you're a little bit more stuck, I feel like. Any other ones? We have lots of the orcs have their own little subplots or stories about how they feel, about
Gul'dan, his whole
Gul'dan
thing.
and
using the fell.
So there's a lot, and you're right, like they're jumping between these a lot. There's a lot of back and forth, and because of that, like in a way it worked because I did understand everyone's motivations. I did understand that Medivh was a complex character that had been taken over by this, but was trying to fight it, but was sort of couldn't, and that's why he had hid himself away for 6 years, basically. I did understand Anduin's, he also had a love story with Garona, which didn't really.
Everyone had a love story with Garona. The king
that's
had a
true.
love story with Garona.
I think I was 40 minutes in and I said, sure are a lot of dudes in this movie.
Yep.
Because I think the only women in it had been so far was pregnant, orc, and queen. And if you have a king, you have to have a queen. So that feel like it didn't really count. I don't know if it passed the Bechdel test. Did any women speak to each other? Oh yeah, orc lady and
Yeah,
the queen.
and the queen.
and the queen Garona did talk about her being cold or something.
She gave her the sword, right?
She gave her the
Yeah.
dagger
her?
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
The Warcraft movie passing the Bechdel test is like the fucking greatest. Like, I just let it be a testament to our reverence for the art of cinema that we're having these kind of conversations about the 2016 Duncan Jones Warcraft movie.
Can
I mean,
we
if
quantify
they
it?
really cared about Blizzard's history, they wouldn't have had any women in it at all.
That's actually
No, they would have. That's just terrible things would have happened to or around them.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Yeah. So let's go. I want to re-engage Frank. I feel like Frank, I'm giving him like a mental health episode, forcing him to watch this movie and then talk about it. Let's talk about one of the fun parts of this movie, which is seeing some World of Warcraft shit. So what were your favorite, like, WoW stuff that you saw in this movie, Frank?
Like I said, like there's a part where they're like getting ready for battle and they're in the Stockades armory. I was like, that was such a specific, like that's seriously what I liked.
I didn't notice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like every green screen background was straight up like that is I mean, they redesign it, but it was like like one of the opening shots is Ironforge. It's the two guys, dwarves. I'm like, oh yes.
In that main chamber.
Yeah. So it's like, that's the thing I liked is like, I was so tuned out. I mean, it's honestly, sometimes like when I watch like Sentai shows, I'm looking for the Tokyo filming locations. So my brain's just been trained like that. But that's what it was like. Again, I'm not kidding. When they go to Goldshire and they cross the bridge where the Murlocs are, I know exactly that geography. And like
Did you find it funny that when they said we have to go to Goldshire to see the king, that they're like dum, 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 off on this expedition, and it like has like a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that's like 2 minutes down the road, guys. It's like you can probably just hop on a griffin. It's like a 20-second griffin ride. It's the shortest griffin ride in the game, probably, or you can just run it. So I did find that very funny when they went to Goldshire and it took them all day. That was pretty dumb.
Yeah, there was, like I said, Karazhan. Like that was the thing I completely forgot was Karazhan, the giant wizard floating sky. I'm like, oh my god, they're flying into that. There's a quick shot. I think they're like Blackrock Mountain or Burning Steps. Like they're like again near the end of the movie, and they're getting ready for the battle. Like the commander is saying, like, oh, we'll have our troops here by Red Ridge, over here by Blackrock, and it's like I know exactly where that is.
But they don't do too much of it, do they? It's not like.
Yeah, it's like the fan service. That was the only thing that engaged me, and it's like, I wish there was more. Like, I don't think. There's Ironforge. The troll. There's no night elf. They missed out on having any night elves in this movie.
Did they have?
Right.
No, you're right. Well, first of all, the night elves would have been on the other the other continent, right?
Yeah.
That's
Where
where
were the
they ended up
panda
staying.
people? Why didn't
They're on a whole. They're not even
I
on
know.
that island.
Haven't
They're
been
on a whole
patched in
other
yet.
island.
But there was like
There was elves in the big meeting at the end, though.
There was
right?
one. There was 2 elves I saw. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lady elf and a guy elf, but yeah, there was no dark elves, no blood elves.
yeah, no gnomes, right? Like there's a few dwarves. I feel
Are
like
there?
Yeah.
There's like no
There's some
gnomes.
dwarfs. Gnomes also are on a different island. They got patched in, and then what
That's
island was?
crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
so they
there
wouldn't
were.
have been there.
I think there were non-playable gnomes in around Iron.
Oh,
in
you're
and around
right.
Iron Forge.
You're right.
Was
Must have
are there? This is a deep lore question. In Warcraft, there are blood elves and there are night elves. Is there a like vanilla elf? Because there were elves in the. Okay, they're just like elves.
Alliance has elves. Night elves are on the horde side, right? And then blood elves got added, and they were either.
Okay.
They were with the Draenor.
I was just making
They
sure
were
there
added.
was a
must
standard
have been
elf that
horde
was
as
not
well.
a night elf because I could not remember the differentiation.
Right? Isn't it? Because they're like wood elves, right, or whatever. Am I wrong?
I feel
Am I
like
crazy?
night elves. Okay, wait, hold on. Elves come in many
Yeah, night elves were
flavors.
alliance, blood elves were horde.
World of Warcraft has night elves and void elves for the Alliance, blood elves and nightborn for the Horde. I don't think there's like
so am I wrong?
I don't
So
think
night
there's
elves
a
are the
vanilla.
only elves.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is because I thought the night elves were. I guess some of them are
Just
like
shadows.
gray and white. I thought they were all like weird blueberry color.
Well, it was weird because the like lady elf was like gorgeous, like just like classic WoW elf, like, you know, crazy glowing eyes, all that stuff. But then the guy elf was like really weird and
40
haggard
cans
looking.
of Red Bull Deep, man. Look at that guy.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, his teeth were all fucked. I was like, "Ugh." What happened?
That's that classic Blizzard
here.
touch, just grotesque dudes and really hot women.
Yep. Yeah, but you're right. There wasn't too much. It was mostly around orcs and humans, which I guess is sort of the remit of this. But yeah, apart from that one spit in Iron Forge and the one table scene, the like Lord of the Rings council scene, there was not much.
There were
Not much
Draenei.
dwarves or anything.
The Draenei they were used as fuel to open the portal originally.
That's who that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the cage.
Oh, I was wondering. I wrote it down at the start. Who the fuck are the blue people?
They were
But you're right.
The Draenei, which
It was the Draenei, who would have been on
Kalimdor,
Kalimdor.
which I think is further
Yeah.
evidence for our Kalimdor theory here.
Yeah, so they must have just come over from the Barrens then, or wherever. Is there a portal on that side in the game? Because the only portal I know is the Great Portal that's in Alliance, but that doesn't bring you there. That brings you to Outworld,
Crusade, yeah.
Burning Crusade stuff.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like the portal in this movie is a utilization of that sort of like in-world lore mechanism, but
Right.
applied in a way that it is not applied in the games. Because the only way to traverse between the continents is a
Boat.
ship, right?
Yeah,
It's been a while
Orcs
since I
can't
played
swim
WoW.
or some shit. What the fuck? It's
like Grand Theft Auto
They can't
3.
make boats. Exactly. Yeah, they can't. They can't make boats. I guess. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. What else was there? We got to see a lot of Stormwind. We saw the Griffin. They did a bit of a gag when the Griffins flying into the Griffin place. Stormwind looked great.
Is that Alden? Is that what it's called? Alden? That square that they see, the cube that they see in Wizard
Oh,
Space.
yeah.
Oh yeah, what the
City.
fuck was that about?
Is that
I
a
didn't-
thing in World of Warcraft or Warcraft
I
at
don't
all?
know what
No?
that was.
I don't
about.
remember it. That was in
Glenn Close was in there. Let her out.
is it Dalaran?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Hold on. Is Dalaran the floating city? I think it is. Yeah, home to the Kirin Tor. Yeah, at the center of Dalaran. I don't remember if the weird fucking black cube was in the game.
No, I'd never seen that thing before. That was weird.
I thought
Where's
that seemed out of
Karzan
place.
again?
Sky.
Which one's
Karzan was the tower that Medivh was in.
No, I know that,
Oh.
but like in WoW, where is Karzan?
It's like an endgame raid, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. What's the thing? I'm in the Nordic Iceborne. What the hell is the second expansion called? Lich King. What's the Darnassus? What's the hub world in Lich King? That was the floating city I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
That's not.
Is that
Karzan.
Dalaran?
That might be it. That might be it.
Darnassus is the elf hometown, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, we're probably pissing off.
Dalaran. Yeah, Dalaran is the hub. So Dalaran was the floating city. That's what I was
No,
thinking of.
Dalaran's that's JFK just banned Dalaran. That's the thing that's giving everyone autism.
Prescription Dalaran.
Oh.
You're
This
not allowed
is
to take Dalaran.
This is a great term. Dalaran is the capital of the Majocratic nation of the same name. Majocratic meaning run by magi.
By mages?
I just love
Magocratic.
like plutocratic and
Oh, man.
yeah, major.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
fucking
We have no
major.
autocrats. All magocrats, yeah.
As someone who was also in the same mental frame of mind as Jeremy Jane when I was watching this movie last night,
Mental.
When you
Can I
get
just
scared.
say- I couldn't stop laughing. There's one scene where Gul'dan is basically taking drags off this human.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene where he's talking to Ogrim about, and he's just as a human, he's just chatting to him about like how great Fel is. He's like, man, you gotta get a hit of this Fel, and then he's like, I'm gonna give you some Fel. You're gonna be so strong. And then there's just like a dude, like a human guy on his knees beside him, and every couple of seconds he just goes like,
takes a little rip off that.
takes a rip off this dude, and then goes back to him, and he's nursing the end of a joint. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to like waste it, so he's like, and then at the end he just kind of goes. Ooh, it takes a big hit and the human
He does
dies.
smoke that guy like a blunt. That's actually
It's
incredible.
amazing. I couldn't believe it. Because everyone else, he like does it in like one big thing. You know, like a whole hundreds of them or dozens of them. But this one guy was just like super dank. So he was just like really enjoying him.
In The Fella's Green, I think there's a extended allegory. I think Duncan Jones is staunchly anti-cannabis, and we've unraveled his true intentions with the Fell subplot.
I bet he isn't.
No, I bet he
Bet
isn't
he's
either.
pro
Can't be
cannabis.
Ziggy Stardust's kid and not be into drugs a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit.
a good point.
We'll do this at the end, but if I'm allowed to spoil Moon later, I have a great Moon story about. Well, we'll get back to it.
Has everyone here watched Moon?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Frank, you watched Moon?
Okay, can I spoil
We'll do
Moon?
We'll do that at the end.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that at the end?
Yes.
Let's do it at the end, just in case, because we don't want to spoil it for everyone else. Yeah. Okay. Who's your favorite character in this movie? If you had to go through everyone, who's your favorite? Jesse.
Duratan, 100%. I love that guy. Duratan and Orgrim's relationship was like the only reason I gave a crap about anything, which makes the last 30 minutes of the movie really hard to watch when Duratan's gone and Orgrim's kind of like, this guy sucks, right? Should we kill this guy? I'm not going to do it though. That was a little disappointing, but yeah, Duratan's whole thing of like, you know, I didn't really care about the green baby stuff at the start, but he has this like attitude about him where he gives a shit about his wife and he like wants to see his world be good. Like he feels bad that his world's messed up, but he also seems to feel bad about his people being used in order to achieve that goal. Like he feels as though there's some way to have that resolve. I feel like his ultimate goal is perhaps misguided, but like he wants it to be their choice to do it as opposed to just having to do what Gul'dan is forcing people to do or taking their lives away. Like just a really interesting dynamic. I like his relationship with the other characters. I think the orc stuff is the best stuff in the movie. And just he like, I don't know, the performance was great.
It was,
like,
yeah.
By the end of the movie, when he has his sort of final fight against Gul'dan, it's like he's dying, and I believed it. I forgot I was watching this bad CG movie. I was like, that's a real motherfucker on the screen who's losing his life.
That was a
force.
testament
really
to that was the moment where I was like, you know what? They actually like created some pathos with this fucking corny ass like movie that is based on little fantasy miniature orcs that people hand paint. They took that, and when there was like a fucking Spartacus moment where they do the mukbang. What is it? What do they call it when they do the they do a mukbang?
Duratan and Gul'dan are just sitting there eating ramen for 2
They have
hours
to
straight.
respect the outcome of the mukbang as is orc tradition. And you know, the fucking Gul'dan cheats because he's like, we have to open the portal to do something with the portal, and then they're like, no, you
I have a very important meeting in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. His phone
That's what Danny
alarms
does
were
when he
going
has to go
off.
do an interview, but we're going too long. He just sucks our souls out of our body and puts them in a jar for later.
So yeah, I don't know. I felt emotions when Duratan was on the ground and he was getting sucked. You know,
I was shocked. I didn't think he'd die. I was
Yeah, I
like,
didn't think so
they
either.
fucking killed him and his wife.
Yeah.
Like they both died.
they killed
I was like,
everybody
wife's
in
death
this movie.
was
he the main
very
character?
disappointing. The
wife's
way that
dead.
she died
Yeah.
was her entire plot line. Like, you know, we were saying earlier, this movie doesn't seem interested in having women in it. But like her entire plot thread was basically you had the baby. You are not allowed to do anything for yourself. You have no autonomy except for when your husband lets you for a little bit. And then she puts the baby in the river and gets stabbed. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? She didn't even like get to fight back. Like, yeah, she bit him, but like, that's it. That's the whole.
That's it.
Like,
We gotta
oh my
move the
god,
plot
I was
along.
so.
We gotta check in with Medivh.
I know we need to know
else.
what Medivh's going. We need to see that his old guy that lived with him that he sucked the life force out of, the life force that he sucked out of him, that specifically, is dead on the ground. We need to know that. I'm like, I don't care, man. It's character. I give a shit about her. Bring her back.
Yeah, this movie could have benefited from settling a little deeper into some of its more compelling characters and cutting a little bit of the less consequential stuff.
Garona was a funny one too, because I actually think the performance was good, and I thought some of the arc was good, but some of it was weird. Like, I really didn't think we needed her and Anduin to have that, flirty stuff going. Like, especially after his son died.
It was a weird timing. She was like kissing his neck when he was like grieving his son.
He's like, I'll never know what it's like to hold my boy again. And she's like, what if I crushed all the bones in your body with my hot hips?
Your boy? How about
that?
I'll hold this boy down here. I think they made her green in post. I watched a bunch of behind the scenes stuff on my 4K Blu-ray. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they like changed her in post because all the
there's
stuff
a couple scenes.
They reverse chroma keyed her skin color.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they with the little, and then the other thing was that those tiny little tusks she had were just ridiculous.
She was doing a monologue about her mom dying, and she had the little teepees sticking out, and I was like, bro, you gotta fucking do something about this shit. You gotta I was imagining like the actress in that moment. It took me out of it because I was imagining being like, you've devoted your life to the craft of cinema and acting and theater and this like rich artistic tradition, and then they're like, all right, this is like the big monologue for you. This is when Garona like talks about her mom, and like she has like her mom's like tusk necklace, and it's like, this is a real like origin story moment, and then you have to deliver that with like prosthetic fucking Halloween vampire teeth in your mouth.
There's a lot of funny moments in this as well. I feel like there's some good like gags in it. I'm trying to see if I wrote some of these down because the Murloc one was that wasn't really gag. It was just a funny moment. But did you see when the portal was coming down? Did you see that one guy who jumped in the last bit of portal that was there?
Oh yeah, silly.
I heard the reverse. I thought that was so funny. The portal's like coming down. All the civilians from Stormwind are trying to get in the portal, and then it's like coming down, and on the other side the orcs are, and there's like a little sliver of portal that's left, and one of the guys just looks and just dives into it.
I missed that.
That's awesome. Closing. I thought that was really funny. That was a good little bit.
It got funny near the end. I think all this stuff with what's his name again? Anduin, whatever last name.
Lothar Anduin.
And thank you, Lothar.
Anduin Lothar.
One of the two.
Lothar Anduin.
They read the first name second.
It's like Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it is Anduin Lothar. You're right.
Okay, all right. So he him and Khadgar, when they're hanging out and fighting Medivh, I was like, okay, they're trying to do like that. Felt like proto Honor Among Thieves. It was funny. It was silly.
Yeah.
There was like he's hooked into the back of the golem and he's using the strings to pull him around. And he almost falls back out the window. Whoa, wacky antics. It felt tonally like it was from a different movie and not in a complimentary way. That's what I wanted the human stuff to be basically from the start, is like, be silly, be a little like, this is ridiculous and funny and we're having a good time. And like, he clearly wanted to be that sort of swashbuckling hero who has a good time with everyone, but they kept dragging him back to be like the hard ass until after his son dies. And then he's free to have a little fun.
Yeah. Travis Fimmel had a lot of, that character was definitely complex, had a lot of different things going on, but it did seem a little bit weird that him and Khadgar I thought was great as well. I thought the two of them were great. I think it sounds like we all thought Medivh was good. Like he was pretty, he had some good stuff going on. But yeah, it was weird that they turned him and Khadgar into this sort of little buddy thing at the end.
It was like Gaston and his buddy, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah, but after his kid had died and all that stuff, it just seemed like the motivations were a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, it was one of the weaker relationships, especially because a lot of the sort of like there are these sort of like character dyads throughout the story structure where you have Khadgar and Medivh are sort of the young magic user and the elder magic user, and there's like a power dynamic there, which initially seems like sort of like a dick swinging contest, but emerges more as like the secret subplot of the Fel taking over Medivh. Thought that was interesting. The sort of like tense building of trust between Garona and the Queen, really interesting, very different power dynamic that emerges between them, where like showing sort of vulnerability and kindness to this hardened warrior being is like, that was interesting. I agree that I think like the sort of like buddy cop thing they were trying to do, very slapshot and last minute between Khadgar and Lothar, was sort of just like, it didn't live up to, I can't believe I'm saying this, it didn't live up to the standard of character dynamics of the Warcraft movie.
It opens, I think the first interaction they have is Lothar finds him because he's trying to creep into town or whatever. He goes to see him and he's like, "What were you doing, spell chucker?" And I was like, whoa!
I could not believe they fucking dropped a hard SC in this movie.
You cannot be doing that shit, man.
Crazy.
It's a video game movie.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I thought the way they did like some of the hand magic was good. Like the drawing on the ground, the force of the magic. I thought like all that stuff. There was some nice touches there. I didn't think the combat was particularly great. Like the actual fight scenes themselves, they were.
Some of them are good.
Yeah, but I think there was a lot of like is the problem with like close proximity CG fighting.
Yeah.
The weight of stuff is sometimes hard to pull off. But then that's very Warcraft, is that type of cartoony, big, chunky fight stuff. So I kind of get like picking up the horse. That stuff was funny. You know what I mean? Like there was some good bits in there like that. Dude, but
the funniest combat bit is when they're doing the shield wall from 300 and then all of a sudden a giant bear monster and an orc go on top of them and they're like, "Yeah, we'll kill him this way." It's dead, guys. It's going to crush you. And then it did. Right. And I was like, are you kidding me? Stupid.
I liked what's his face Anduin trying to get through the lightning with the shield.
That was
thing.
cool.
That was a
I
nice
like that visually.
All that stuff.
Yeah,
for my son. For your son gets mentioned twice in 2 minutes as well.
Should have said for the Alliance more.
They never did. They say for the Alliance?
Right at the end, they say for the Alliance. Right at the end when the king thing happens, when he's like, yeah.
I was waiting. I was too built up on the when they said Zug Zug. I was waiting the whole movie for a Zug Zug, and we got one at the end.
Did we?
The orcs.
Who said Zug Zug?
The orcs were like Zug Zug Zug.
Oh, you're right.
Like a bunch of frat boys.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, totally. Keck. Nobody said Keck.
Nobody said Keck the whole movie. It's been too co-opted by edgelord online communities.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in 2016, actually. That was right in the prime of Keck.
One weird thing we've not talked about is it's a rite of passage for a video game movie to have a sequence that is totally breaks from the form and tradition of cinema to do something that is so overtly video gamey that it makes you throw up in your mouth a little bit, unless you're like really on board with the fan service here. For example, in the Doom movie, we get the weird first person bullet time bullshit. In this movie, when they were talking about the Warcraft or the orcs like ravaging the landscape, there was an overhead sequence that was like sort of pseudo orthographic that looked like an RTS of zooming between the different towns being taken.
It was awesome.
It was amazing and the dumbest shit I've ever seen. It was the audacity of doing something that bombastic. I was like, you know what? I gotta fucking give it up. This is so stupid that like I love it. It didn't overstay its welcome to. It was so fast that it was over by the time I realized what the gimmick was. But I thought that was so funny that they're like, remember real time strategy?
I liked it. I liked it because it was one of the only times where I got like a zoomed out picture of the world. Yeah. I think this was an issue the movie had, as well as that, like, I thought as well, especially for people who don't know the world, who don't know that continent, like, because like at least we know where like fucking Ironforge and Stormwind are like kind of far apart, but not that far, and you have to take a griffin, and he did, and that's why he's there, because he rides a griffin. Not everyone rides a griffin. Like these things that like make sense to somebody who's played WoW and understands, like Goldshire and all this sort of stuff. But I did find that to be one of the things that the game didn't do a great job of like giving people an idea of kind of where like north is, you know, where anything is, or how much of the land the orcs have taken over, or how big is the land, like all those types of things. Like, I think if you were coming into this having no knowledge of that stuff, maybe that might be a bit maybe an open question. But that one sequence was one part where I thought, oh, at least they're like giving me some idea of the sort of zoomed out, you know, it's like in Lord of the Rings where they're constantly going back to the map, right, and saying like, we're going this way.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
This.
I kept thinking during this movie that you remember how in Final Fantasy 16, I don't think it was in 15, in 16 they introduced the like you can pause and check like a lore reference guide of like who the fuck is this guy again? I wished I could press M on my keyboard during this movie and see the World of Warcraft map and see where we were in any given scene. I would have loved that.
Yeah, that was a problem that I had in general of like, especially in the first hour of the movie, they spend maybe 3 seconds everywhere they go for the first hour.
Yeah, that's true. It was very
they show up,
breathless
they're
pace.
like, this is John Thar of Miffleflorf, and he's going to take you to Jimbolo. Like Frank was saying earlier, it's just a bunch of proper nouns and place names for like an hour straight. And it bummed me because I think like, I haven't played much World of Warcraft. I maybe did like a free trial for like an hour or two. But something I remember about that game is like, the places are huge.
Yeah.
The scale of that world makes so much sense. There's very little loading screens between locations. I don't think there was any really. So like that made the place make sense. But every time they show you a location in this movie, it's like, okay, we're inside of this important room. This is an important place you want to be. And now we're somewhere else with the same cast of characters, and you don't know how they went from point A to point B. I'm not asking for a movie that walks me down hallways, but I at least want to get an understanding of like physically where this room is in relation to other stuff. Because later on in the movie, they're showing you Stormwind or wherever the hell, and like you see the big Guardian statue, and I'm like, I don't think I've seen that more than one other time when you did a big wide shot of the town. That should be like a structure that I could put in a place. Like it's just so strange because the world is so big.
There's reasons for everything, right? So like I imagine you're totally right, but like there's probably logical reasons that we're not thinking of why that's the case. It is interesting though that you make a very good poignant observation that everything happens in a room. In this, or in the middle of nowhere. There's no walking in a hall. There's no like we're in the town square. There's no like we're getting on a griffin at the Griffin Rider. Like the Ironforge forge room is like the one. We got a like a GV of Ironforge, that classic shot from the loading screen of Ironforge, and then we're just in the middle of Ironforge with like one other person. It's not like outside the auction house or walking around. It's just here, and like all the stuff in Stormwind is in like the King's Chamber or like the big king's room or whatever. Yeah, you're right. There's no like, you're never spending time. Even when we go to Goldshire, it's just in the pub. Like it's not. Exactly. Yeah, there's no like. But it's probably a lot of that's probably budget.
I was going to say the cost of CG is probably the main limiting factor. A much more expensive and like bombastic, silly version, like a version of this movie that I think would have catered more to like what Frank was hoping to get out of it. I think would have been like, you're at Ironforge. There's the sequence where he gets the blunderbuss, and then you have to go to Stormwind, and there's like a whole, like a fucking, like a one take following you into the deep run tram going between Ironforge and Stormwind. Like, someone like falls off the tram and dies. Like, I think there's an alternate universe version of this movie that does like not just like fan service quick hits where it's like, that's a Murloc, but like a whole sequence about taking the deep run tram where you're like, holy shit, they really they committed to this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's I imagine a lot of this is, well, first of all, we don't have any time because we've got 14 plots to get through here.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it's just going to cost so much if you're moving through those spaces. And it's also a problem where like the D&D movie has like, D&D is kind of largely just medieval Earth, but like everything in World of Warcraft has to look like a stone wall in World of Warcraft doesn't look like, they couldn't just use a regular stone wall.
Yeah.
It has to be like a sort of a chunky fat stone wall.
Yeah.
Like, so like I bet just doing any of that stuff would have just.
But they cheat in a lot of ways though, right? Like not everything is perfect one-to-one. There's locations that are similar enough that I think they could have gotten away with certain, but I get your point of like, this is a world that exists that has a look to it and you have to get close at least. Like
even the books in that library are big, fat, chunky books with like big, leather fucking rip. Like I was just thinking, like I bet everything, like glasses, had to be fucking huge, big tankards. Because it was so funny watching them walk around in all these like big chunky pauldrons and everything. I just remember thinking like, no wonder we're not like seeing a lot of them, I don't know, interacting with the worlds. But this is miss out on it then.
This is a very stupid idea, but I think it would have been incredible. I think this movie would have bombed at the box office way harder and not made anybody, but this is how you could have made a better movie and done all of the like the insane deep run tram shit. Is you have physical costumes and you have physical props for anything that needs to be interacted with, but every non-interacted environment is just filmed in engine in World of Warcraft. And they green screen the characters into the world. And they're just like if you're in Stormwind, you're in Stormwind in the game, but with real people green screened into it.
A machinima movie for $80 million
on the fucking environments.
Yeah, you're a genius.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Let's no bad ideas in brainstorming as our last exercise for the World of Warcraft movie. I want each of us. It's going to be hard for you, Jesse. I'm sorry.
I'll try my best.
If you want. Each of us, or any of it, we can go round and round and whatever. And this is especially for you, Frank. I'm so sorry to put you down. what parts of the game that would have been good in the movie? Like either places or mechanics or things. Frank made a really good observation earlier about the leveling up ding. That would have been very funny. I would have loved to have seen somebody die and then have to do a corpse run back to their body. I think it would have been a bad idea for this movie, but I think that would be a funny thing to see, especially if like they were going to aggro a bunch of people, like they're too deep into like a high level area, and so they're trying to like get as close to their body as possible where they can res without pulling anything, and they keep pulling and getting killed and then having to go back, but they don't want to take the hit off the angel to lose whatever 15% fucking damage for the next hour or two. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Who's next?
You know what they should have done? Added Leroy Jenkins.
Oh my God.
That would have
Why didn't they do it?
That's the fucking jump the shark moment that it would have radicalized me against this movie if they did Leroy Jenkins. And I love Leroy Jenkins. My primary character in World of Warcraft had a name that was a parody of Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
So,
Was it G. Roy Lincoln's?
yes. Yes, it was. Good guess, because yes, it was.
There was a Howie scream at once, or there was a Wilhelm scream at one stage. But
There was.
I was thinking they should have had one. They should have had something like that, but like during the fight, somebody saying like "more dots" or
Yeah,
something like that.
I would have liked to see a couple things. I would have liked to see like a little side quest in Booty Bay, the pirate area in the jungle. I think that would have been a rich, again, insane, another $1 million gone in the CG budget, but that would have been cool. I would have liked to have seen. I think it would have been really funny if they had it doesn't make sense for the geography of the film, but if they had a scene in the Barrens where there was just like a bunch of like racist teenagers yelling at them while they were trying to do something. Like if they were just like trying to do main plot stuff and dudes were just like yelling at them like weirdly, like dog
It's a
whistly
bunch of them
shit.
saying keck to each other.
Yeah, it was all like censored though.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shame that they didn't. At one stage, it looked like they were burning Westfall. Did you see that? There was like a sort of a Westfall-ass farm getting raided.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know the movie doesn't want me to think this, but all I'm thinking is they're very close to Goldshire. Yeah. They're very close to, like, they're quite close to Stormwind. They could get there in 5 minutes. When they were in Goldshire, I was thinking it'd be hilarious if a bunch of people brought like Hogger in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just like Hogger's pal. They're like, we got him! Finally, he's been terrorizing this town for fucking years, and then like the body disappears and he's respawned again or something.
That's the kind of thing you could do in the version of this that Frank pitched, which is like a serialized television show that is like, it never says MMORPG. It doesn't allude to the fact that it is a video game. It's just about a nobody in Azeroth who like starts in Elwyn Forest and works their way through the zones, and you do little
and
like
that's just
narratives.
How reality is this like? That's how reality works. If you die in this world, then you do a corpse run, or is it like a sort of a Westworld situation where like the computer characters don't realize, and some of the people don't realize that they're in a simulation?
My ideal would be it'd be hardcore. It'd be if you die, you're dead.
Okay.
So it's just that the main character just never dies.
Man. Frank, what would you add in?
Yeah, I mean, I was really mad there was no skeletons. Like that's a big part of like Duskwood. You're fighting skeletons. There's no giant spiders. There's no trolls. Like there's so many all the small flavor. There's none of the flavor I like in this in the game is in the movie, and that was the stuff again. The Defias Brotherhood's not in here.
No stitches.
Yeah, you could have a campy thing where someone's trying to get guild charter signatures to join the guild, or he's trying to make a guild. No one's debating over loot, or I'm gonna get that sword. I want that sword. Like it's like they didn't go for any of that, but it's like they made the movie so serious. I didn't want to participate in it.
Right. I do like the idea of there being a scene where a bunch of people have like just gotten out of dead mines and they're fighting over like who needed and greeted for the sword.
Yeah, I love that.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, you're right. There's none of that.
Yeah, no auction house stuff. Like so many core things about the gameplay of World of Warcraft is like there's not. It's just all the like it's literally everything I skipped. It's like the opening. It's the 2-hour opening cutscene.
you
You're
skipped.
mashing escape so you can get to where you spawn your character, and then the fun begins.
Should-
So it really is like I would hit escape, skip the whole 2-hour movie, and play the game.
Nobody conjured water the whole
I
time
mean-
either.
Yeah, right. Conjure. Yeah, you can have a mage brewing stuff, cooking stuff, but like. I don't know. Like during the movie, it really should be a thing where an escape button. Do you want to skip this movie? Click yes, and then you start the game.
Just runs the
Is there
credits.
any AOE's in it at all? Did
The
anyone
fucking
quote it?
Medivh did his big lightning AOE.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, that was a really big one. Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. It'll all that stuff will be in the sequel, which will come out any day now. That was Warcraft. I'm glad 3 of the 4 of us enjoyed it. Although I think Frank hated it so much that it might have outweighed how much we enjoyed it. I think that might have been.
I think I'd like to temp the enjoyed it very much thing. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Okay.
I did not think it was a good movie.
If I had watched this not for work, I would have felt very differently, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I think the fact that watching it to have I think the Minecraft movie was similar. I think watching a shitty movie to have a discussion that maybe the movie doesn't really earn, I think is like one of the funniest bits in the world to me, because I like having conversations about movies in a very serious way. It was like my favorite part about film school was like watching, a Fellini movie and then just like chopping it up for 3 hours about this. Like it's one of my favorite things in the world. And to do that about the Warcraft movie or the Minecraft movie or the Street Fighter movie is like to have, quote unquote, like intellectual discussions, to take it seriously, I think is like very fun and funny. And so I think that is part of my enjoyment.
I agree. Honestly, and I wish that was the way we framed all, like not all, but like a lot of criticism, because that's what Noclip is too. Like we talk about the process of making these things and how they ended up the way they were. And like films are no different, right? They are constrained by 1,000,001 different things that we don't get to see because they are designed for us not to see them. We don't get to think about things like, budget, or which actor was having a bad time in their career, or who was really supposed to do this role, or how much the CG was supposed to work, or what happened to the script doctor, or, you know what I mean? There's like all these things. And I think I'm empathetic towards films in that way as well, and it's hard to with like a big budget IP thing, I guess. But I could tell there was a lot of heart and a lot of craft went into this, no pun intended. It's kind of an impossible IP to make a film in. Like, it's such a weird... Like you were saying, Jeremy and Jesse and Frank, I think all 3 of you made points about just how, like, it's just such a weird one. More than almost any other fantasy IP, Warcraft in particular is such a weird one to try and do something earnest in. Because its earnestness is almost the joke in World of Warcraft. The fact that everyone in this world is taking this seriously, and you're just going, wee, bouncing around, buying gold off Chinese kids and trying to fucking, trying to sell linen so you can fucking, it's like every time any quest giver gave me like a big speech, I could not have given a shit. In World of Warcraft, I've skipped through more quest dialogue in any game than World of Warcraft. And it sounds like we all have.
It's a bit like, because Warcraft is pastiche of more grounded fantasy, turning Lord of the Rings and fantasy and D&D all stuff are like distilled into the silliness of World of Warcraft. Turning that back into grounded fantasy is kind of like, it's like an irreversible process. You can't it's like turning beef jerky back into like steak.
Yes. I was going to, dude, I had a note for this in the, where I was thinking how do you broke down every fantasy thing, made a game, and then turned that into a movie again. Of course it's going to be boring. My note was, it's like trying to unnugget a chicken nugget.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's like trying to make a fucking smoothie into like a basket of fruit is what this movie is.
Right,
and they did an admirable job.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And that was it. Warcraft, available now on, where did you guys source it? Internet?
YouTube.
Amazon Prime if you are in Canada.
Okay.
In America, it was on HBO Max.
HBO Max, nice. And I'll be honest, the 4K, is this 4K? It's a Blu-ray. It's not a 4K Blu-ray. The Blu-ray looked fucking great. It looked really good. So I was really enjoying the pores on Duratar. I'll tell you that much. And when I was watching this,
He was sweating profusely.
yeah, Gork sweat a lot.
Yeah, they were sweaty people.
Yeah, he was real sweaty, real sweaty.
Same.
And that was Warcraft. And that was our Patreon exclusive pod for September 2025. Thank you so much for listening.
Wait. Jeremy, what was the moon thing?
Moon Minute.
Oh
We're
my
gonna do a
God.
quick Moon Minute. If you've never seen the movie Moon, stop right now and listen to the next podcast. If you have seen Moon, let's talk about Moon.
I'm going to spoil half of Moon.
Okay.
Moon is a movie a Duncan Jones movie where Sam Rockwell works on a moon base as the sole worker there doing every task by himself. There is a sequence in Moon, this is the spoiler, where Duncan Jones is not in the movie, he just made it, where Sam Rockwell figures out that he's a clone and that there are other clones of him in the base and that the real him is long gone. He's not the real him. The first time I took this is a drug story, as you might have expected. The first time I took a very large amount of LSD, I had what is colloquially referred to as like an ego death. The sense that like the you that you've known all along is like dead and gone and you don't even recognize it and whatever. And because I had just watched the movie Moon and was like such a, I had never experienced anything like this. This was a very early experience for me with psychedelics. The only way that my brain could contextualize what was happening is that I was like, holy fuck, I'm like Sam Rockwell in Moon. Cause like, I thought I was the real me and there is no real me. And it sounds funny. In the moment, it was the single most terrifying thing that's happened in my entire life.
Oh, that's horrifying.
But I just think it's so fucking funny that like I had like a cultural touchstone for this thing that is like so outside of the Western cultural mind that it's like there is no touchstone for it. And I luckily had watched Moon and I was like, you know what? I know what this is because I seen fucking Duncan Jones' Moon, bro.
Wow. So your tradition of taking drugs while watching Duncan Jones movies continues. We need to do like source code on meth or something. That's
source code has to be done on Adderall.
Duncan Jones
100%.
he's sort of like a shamanic figure in my life, I would say.
Exactly. I love it. Awesome. Thank you to everyone for watching or for listening. And we'll see. And apologies to Frank Alley for forcing him through that. Between that and the skate tutorial, I feel like there were similar experiences for you. So I feel like we'll move past it. We'll find more interesting fodder next time around. Thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time on the Patron pod. Bye. Keck.